Welcome back. Today I would like to talk a little bit more about home automation. As we're wrapping things up and things are progressing along, that home automation really is an important thing to me, where I didn't want a bank of switches. I want to try to automate a few things in the house and make life simpler and not more complicated. So it's ironic, I'm talking to one of the product managers at Taco, and sure enough, Nate Fischer used to be home automation expert. So I invited him to come over and he could give us some insight. We met with Jerry originally to talk about things from System 7. He helped lay out some, where zones were going to be, but now it's nice to see a different viewpoint, refreshing, and it's amazing. Somebody you work right next to didn't know they were involved in them. So let's grab him and see what he thinks. Hey Nate, thanks for coming down.
Hey Dave.
Appreciate it,
Thanks for having me.
And like I said earlier, it's amazing. I sit next to this guy, and in a prior life, he used to do home automation. Install it, design it, program it, do all those kind of things. And so we were kind of throwing stories back and forth to each other. I said, well, come on down. I know in prior episodes we've been working with other companies and things, but it's always neat to see somebody's viewpoint. It's that refreshing thing to look at something differently. So I provided him down and to kind of show him what I did and get his concept down there. So thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. I could walk right in, Dave. Where's your security?
Oh, they're 2 dogs, and I just put them in the other room.
Oh.
No. You did make a reference to that earlier when we were talking. It's not all about me and what I feel should be important. We have to think of the other people in the house or who may eventually buy it down the road or do whatever. Like right here, here's the switch on the wall. I put in a Lutron Radio Raw 2 system here because I didn't want a bank of switches. I kind of did some research, and Jerry kind of guided me on these products. And so now I don't have 3 or 4 switches, but what do I have now?
You have a keypad with 6 buttons.
I know, it's more. It's more complicated. So I didn't make life easier, it made it worse. Now, how do I clean that up? How do I make that? Granted, it'll be engraved, it'll do all that, but and with these, still a lot of buttons.
Right, with these Lutron systems, you can actually take out buttons. So you only need 1 or 2, or maybe even 3 for, say, a room this size, where you're only turning it on to a certain level. And then you have, say, another remote or another app to be able to control it individually if you wanted to use it. Okay. If you, the power user, wanted to be able to control the settings and control the lights individually. But this is more for that person that's just walking in to be able to quickly turn on the lights and move into that space.
Okay. Well, for me, I have like 3 different lighting groups. I have like the main recessed, I have some pendants over the island, and then the typical 2 lights above a sink or something like that. Would I program them as lights, or would I do it as a scene? What's a better way to do that?
The best way to do it could be as a scene. You'd want to be able to pull on whatever lights you want for that situation, whether it's prep work, whether it's cleanup, whether it's just eating in. You can have whatever you're familiar with be those scenes where you have a mix and match of different light levels for different loads.
Speaking of talking, what about voice recognition? Where does that come into any of these things? That's the latest
the
thing
latest
going
and
on
greatest
right
thing
now.
going on right now, where you can come in and you can say, Alexa, turn on the lights. To be able to turn on the music with simply your voice is, just all the rage, where you don't even have to go up to the panel to turn on the lights. You don't have to go over to you don't have to even use a remote. You can just stand there and talk. You also have to think about the rest of the family in the house, if they're comfortable with the voice commands, because not everybody wants to be shouting out across the room, Alexa, stop.
Right. Or getting the command wrong and then nothing happening. I'm also thinking about video and like video cameras. What do you think about, like right here, I have a drop cam that I had on the outside of the building for a while.
Camera surveillance is great. Keeping it localized is even better, because again, you have a lot of concerns of, say, privacy, about people being able to hack into those devices. You also have the same concerns about, say, the Amazon Echo, where it's actually recording almost all the time, and it stores all of your inquiries. So maybe you don't want, the spouse to know that you've been looking for a present for her. So because you can actually go right through your app and be able to call out all of those things that been asked for. Oh, look! Oh, somebody's planning a trip for me. Oh boy!
Yeah. Oh, wow.
They might find out ahead of time. You don't want to, but keeping that as secure as possible is always a key factor, and you always have to think about that. So keeping surveillance systems localized and encoded on, say, an encoded DVR, where you can access it through secure means, is much better than, say, one of these drop cam.
Well, let's look at the dining room. I want to get your opinion in here. I mean, this is a typical representation, of kind of like a room that we would have. We have lighting. I wanted to talk to you about audio. I wanted to talk about other things that would go into it. What do you think you would be involved in doing something?
Well, the key thing in a dining room would be the music, because background music is always nice to have. It breaks up the sound, it fills the space. It's wonderful. Along with the lighting, it's key, especially in the dining room. In the dining room, you can typically put the speakers, say in the ceiling. That certainly would, kind of shower down the sound that you'd get. What is another great location, though, is usually down on the wall. So low on the wall, and even up next to the windows would be a great space for it, because typically you're going to have some kind of draperies around there, and you're not looking to get the greatest sound out of it. You're looking for background sound, so they actually help to hide the speakers, because a lot of people, they don't like the way the speakers look.
Hey, just one thing, and kind of wrapping it up is, can you just tell everybody what the difference between a scene and what's the other way I could programming? Is it a toggle or something like that? What are the choices? Scene means what?
Well, scene is just a level of light and a certain amount of loads. So you're going to have, your pendant lights on in your, in your kitchen. Say the lights over the sink,
right.
But maybe you don't need the recessed lighting around there. They might be set to different levels. That would be a scene, as opposed to being able just to toggle on and off, a single load or a group of loads. And typically a scene could toggle itself off. So sometimes you can actually press it to come on and use that same button to lower that same scene.
Okay, all right. So no, I just want to make sure everybody was understanding when we say scene, what that creates. That's a whole mode that could be ecosystem-wide broadcast of a signal to do something, where a toggle is typically turn that light on, turn that light off, or something like that, where the real feature and benefit of home automation is in scenes.
Thanks, Dave, for having me. This is a beautiful home. What you've done so far is wonderful. As far as home automation goes, it is getting to where you need it to be. What is key in this is to know that there are professionals out there to help you. Your control system, your home automation system, it's just like any other system in your home. It is just like your plumbing system, your electrical system. It's just like your HVAC system. It's a system. In the interim, I'd be happy to help you out, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future. So good luck with this, and thanks a lot for having me.
Well, I appreciate you coming down there, Nate. It was good to have that refreshing viewpoint of another angle on there. That was great. So thanks. That was awesome. It was really good that he came down there. And like I said in the beginning, amazing. I work right next to this guy, and he has so much experience related to home automation. I'd met with Jerry of System 7. We went through a bunch of different things. He helped lay out the system and specify the products, and that's all great. And we got it to a certain point through the electricians and other things, and he's 100% right. You really, now to get that full benefit of the system, you really need to get it all programmed based on your lifestyle. So I think I have the right bones here, and it's just reassuring to hear it from somebody else. Hey Dave, you're working along those right lines, keep it up and keep going on there. So awesome. Great for Nate to come down, and appreciate you out there sitting along and watching this episode, because as you can see, the project is really starting to close up. We're getting all those little details done, and this happens to be one of them. So thanks for joining us today.